So tonight we had the possibility to see the first elimination of this year's 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs. The Florida Panthers were against their backs, and on top of that, Patrice Bergeron was making his playoff debut. Not what you want to see if you're a Florida Panther fan. It took just over 8 minutes for Anthony Duclair to get his first of the series and to get the Panthers on the board. This is the start you want if you're in an elimination game. You want to get first on the board and keep it that way. Now, the next half of the first period would stay 1-0 for the Florida Panthers. Shortly into the second period, Brad Marchand grabs up a power play goal to tie it up at 1 and bringing him to a 4th playoff goal this year. The game would stay tied at 1 for a good amount of time, just until former Calgary Flame Sam Bennett rips one and it gets deflected off of Nick Foligno's stick and right above Ullmark's glove. The Florida Panthers would head into the dressing room with a 2-1 lead, looking pretty decent despite being outshot. Now, as I mentioned before, Patrice Bergeron, first game of the playoffs, and definitely not something you want to see as a Panthers fan. He is an excellent player and an even better performer when it comes to the playoffs. And it takes Mr. Selke 4 minutes into the third period to tip in a set play from Brad Marchand. First playoff game of the year, first goal, no problem from Patrice Bergeron. Now, this game did not stay tied at 2 for very long, and less than a minute later, the Panthers go on a power play, and Sam Reinhart gets loose in the slot and rifles one top cheese for his second of the series and to once again put the Florida Panthers back on top. Now, you can kind of guess how this game's been going. Despite having little to no momentum, the Florida Panthers are still holding on until vintage Taylor Hall picks the puck out from a scrum in front of the net and snipes it for his 5th of the series. That brings the game back to 3 apiece. Now here's where it gets crazy. With 6.6 seconds left, the Florida Panthers have a face-off in the Bruins territory and they win it back. But Brad Marchand intercepts the pass and he's off to the races and manages to get a quick shot off. But Sergei Bobrovsky says no and keeps the Florida Panthers playoffs dreams alive. They are not eliminated. This game needs an overtime. Now, just before I get into overtime, Aaron Ekblad, man, he almost put this in his net with his glove. That would have been an amazing way to end off the series. And you know that play would be repeated on TSN every single time they have a blooper highlight reel. Now, as I said, this game needed overtime. And you know what? Just when you think this game couldn't get any crazier, take a look at how the Florida Panthers managed to stay alive. Linus Ullmark, who is probably the Vezina frontrunner at this point, coughs up the puck on an easy play, and of course, Mr. Mouthguard Tkachuk wins it and saves the Panthers' hopes and dreams. This game will be going back to Florida for Game 6 on Friday. You guys can expect to see a Steve Dangitz video tomorrow and a lot of 10 the goal memes for Linus Ullmark. Now that's going to be all for today's little video. If you did enjoy it, don't be afraid to hit that like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Now with that being said, I'll see you guys all next time. Take care.